All right, everybody. So here I am in an empty Zoom meeting just to demonstrate some of the basic security and also video sharing functions that you have available to you. I will note that these are available when you are in the host role. So when you are teaching your classes, all of these options should be available to you. So first and foremost, I want to highlight the security button down here. Clicking on that is actually how you can adjust these items in the meeting. You'll notice right now I have a check mark next to enable waiting room. That is a common practice for me, just because I don't want folks just logging in and suddenly appearing. So typically I will have that waiting room enabled. When you do, and someone enters the waiting room, you will receive an alert right here of their name, and you can choose to admit them. If you choose to disable the waiting room, all you need to do is click on this item, and Zoom will tell you you've disabled that waiting room. And let's say you want to close the room again, well, you just click it again to enable it. So that's my number one security feature for me. A couple of the things to keep in mind is what you can allow the student participants to do in the meeting. So I like to allow students to chat. But if the chat should ever get too distracting from the task at hand in the Zoom session, then we can simply uncheck that option, right? A couple I always keep. I always allow participants to rename themselves, to start their own video, and to unmute themselves. One that I often leave unchecked is share screen. Sometimes accidentally a student might click the share screen button. It can be distracting for the rest of class, so I typically leave that one unchecked, along with annotating shared content. That means when I am screen sharing something, then students can use a drawing tool or use a typing tool on that shared screen, which is totally interesting, depending on what you're sharing. And that's great too, if you see a purpose for that. For me, I've never really used that, so I leave that one unchecked. A couple things: if something goes awry and you find uninvited users Zoom bombing your meeting, you can always lock the meeting, okay, to completely close it down. No one else can join. You can also suspend participant activities. Everyone's video and audio will be turned off. Screen sharing will stop. Chat will be disabled and the meeting will be locked. That does everything. And it will also send a report to Zoom. Again, this is something that I would only reserve if there was a case of Zoom bombing in my class. So that is the option at the very bottom in red to suspend participant activities. So just keep that one in mind. Other things that you can consider is by clicking on participants themselves, you can mute all participants. I find sometimes in a class of 40, maybe a couple students forget to mute their audio, so I'll just go ahead and mute all. Of course, they can unmute if they have a question or a comment through the lesson. Sometimes folks just forget, and that's okay. You can also ask all to unmute. You can choose to mute all upon entry. So that means that they won't come in and unknowingly be sharing their audio with everyone else in the room. So those are just a few of my essential security and Zoom functions that I would recommend you evaluate makes the most sense in the context of your class. I hope this is helpful, and have a great day.